I think lighthouse, because the Bible says you wouldn't light a lamp and hide it under a bushel. So when I think of lighthouse, I think of a house that you build that just dispenses light or diffuses light into the community. So if you have a house that is all lit up and sitting on a mountain, everybody would notice it. So I think lighthouse. Another reason why I would use lighthouse is because each child portrays light, the light of God. And when they come together under the umbrella or house of Bethesda, there's a convergence of light that affects their communities or everywhere they step into. So lighthouse, I think, best fits what I would call our vision. I went to Catholic schools. Calabar is my hometown. In there was a lot of missionary influence. We had very good Catholic schools. We had Presbyterian schools, Methodist schools. Hope Waddle was a very famous institution in Calabar, so it's got history behind it. So I grew up observing that the church influenced its community through education and free medical treatment. So I grew up experiencing, observing that the church was to play a very strong role in providing the necessary services for the communities that they existed in. So that was one aspect that provided the impetus I needed to set up Bethesda. Secondly, my mother had a school, and I watched the school start from just our veranda with a few, 2-3 children. And 40 years after, in Port Harcourt, it was called Springfield Nursery and Primary School. It had influenced the people, the children who grew up in that community. I could see that she ran the school not based on the need to make maximum profit, but more like a community service. And at that time, I really wondered why she would do that. And I noticed that children would be left to stay in school till 4 o'clock. I mean, whenever the parents came. Now I look back, I think the children, after we had left home, also provided the noise in the compound that my empty nest parents needed at the time. So those two examples were very important in shaping my thoughts about Bethesda. Ikota School, I reckon, would be about 15 years, or probably even 17 years. It was quite a challenge because at that time, the community wasn't as developed as it is now. It was challenging, but yet it was exciting because it represented a challenge. Where the school is located now was a refuse dump. There's a picture you may find interesting of my now 27-year-old son who went in with me. He must have been about 7, not up to 10 years old, when we went to inspect what would become the site that the school is on now. And the community was so poor. They lived in little huts made from bamboo and where they used black nylon bags to seal the holes where the rain would seep through. And in that little hut would be like 5 people or 7, 2 parents and then 5 children. It's very rewarding to look back 17 years after. It took the grace of God to start any project there. We had to go into that community wearing Wellington boots that got here because of the human waste. It's very rewarding. And I thank God that He gave us the grace to plow through in spite of the physical environment we saw. Today, as you know, it's an oasis of sanity. We started the school with bamboo, the same way their houses looked, because I said to myself, these children just need to be educated. It doesn't matter if we build a proper school or not. We could use containers, but we just needed to start. So I thought, have an improvement on what they live in and just start. The moment you start, people will come and help you. So we started with cement floors, bamboo walls, and zinc roofs. And today there's a proper school there. We are also pastors we work with a congregation. One day, my husband drew my attention to a family in church. They'd come back from South Africa and they were resettling into Nigeria. They didn't fall under the bracket of Bethesda underprivileged children. But remember, this was what triggered off the whole process. But they needed assistance with their children's school fees. So my husband called me after service, introduced me to them, and asked if we could find a way of assisting them with their children. And I went up to a member of the congregation and simply explained the problem to him. And he said, "Oh, I'll gladly help them." So he took over the fee payment for the children. There were 3. And I found out to be quite exciting. And then it occurred to me that, oh, there are many people in this congregation who could pay school fees. If only I could pair them up. And that's how it started. We didn't have a name to it, but I called a few ladies, I think we were 8 at the time, explained what had happened. And we put together a vision statement, a little pamphlet. That was how it started, explaining what we wanted to do and asking people for help. So we started with Sponsor a Child. And we found out that it was working. People didn't mind paying. It came to them as a Christian responsibility to do so. So it started. And then after about 3 years, we realized that much as we made progress with Sponsor a Child, that we needed to have persuasive Christian influence. And we couldn't do that when the children were spread across other schools and we were just paying their fees. Then it occurred to us, by this time, I had a board put in place of very dynamic, intelligent, experienced, and passionate people about the project. So we decided that we were better off setting up our own schools alongside the Sponsor a Child project. That's how we started. Remember, the project is now in its 24th year. That's how we started the Kota School, and we've made progress from there. The legacy of Bethesda. Bethesda is evangelism through education. I would like to see a Bethesda that equips children from extremely disadvantaged homes and changes their mindset so they grow beyond the limitation of their environment. And so it's set up to attend to the needs of extremely poor families. I like to say with the necessary caution that when you see a Bethesda child, there's something different about that child. It's not just that they're being educated, but they're very confident. And that's the presence of God on each one of them. It's a covenant. So each child, as we started off saying, is a light. Or the vision is, take that child and make the child a star. Let the child become a light in that community. The transformation is evident when you take a child from very dark beginnings and the child shines like light. You can see that when they come for the yearly Thanksgiving services. They may come from very disadvantaged backgrounds, but they are not to leave the community totally, no. They're not to feel they are bigger than their parents or more enlightened. They're to take the torchlight we give them, go back home and look after the other people who need the opportunity that they've been accorded. It's absolutely a Christian legacy. We don't discriminate. The Catholics and Methodists and Presbyterians never discriminated. Whichever background or religion you come from, we embrace you, but in that process, you understand that we do not change our values or our religious ethos, because that's what we rely on to bring the transformative change that the children, all of them, are benefiting from. That's the dream, that's the vision, because the future is more important than the present.